The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're really excited that you are able to make our first webinar for Fit to Learn. This is Christy Cox speaking, Training and Program Manager for Healthy Schools campaign. And with us today we have, of course, Rosa Ramirez.
Hi everyone, it's Rosa, Campaign Manager for Healthy Schools campaign. We are super stoked that we're doing our first webinar, so thank you so much for coming out. And then we also have a very special guest that we'll let her say hello.
Hi, this is Tara DiClemente. I'm the Nutrition Education Coordinator for Chicago Public Schools.
Yay! So I want to point out a few things on the screen that you should be able to see. There's a little drop-down box where you can ask us questions, and we'll also be able to ask you a few survey questions at the end and in the middle of the presentation. So let's take some time to figure out where the chat function is, or the question function is, and see if you can type in hi to us just to see if it can work.
And while we're waiting for you guys to figure that out, we just want to just give you a brief rundown of what we're going to be discussing today. So we are going to spend about 50 minutes on a presentation that we presented in January, and it proved to be a very popular topic, specifically on staff wellness. And so we thought that this was a great opportunity to share that with some of the teachers who weren't able to attend that particular training. So that's the inspiration behind this particular webinar.
All right, so we're going to get started. This is Rosa. So, all right, our topic today is staff wellness. What is it? What can we do? And hopefully we can motivate you with some great ideas to get started. All right, so the presentation is going to really focus on these 4 key steps to staff wellness. First, obviously, that you can't do it alone. We need a whole team at the school, and that team's going to look different at every school. It might be all teachers, it might be teachers and parents, it might be, you know, your principal and a few of the local school council members. So that variety is great. And then we're also going to talk about, you know, we can start a wellness initiative, but we kind of have to first know what everybody wants to do, what everyone is interested in. So we're going to go over a survey tool that we'll make available to everyone on the webinar. And then we're going to then zero in on exploring different wellness initiative ideas at your school. And then we'll actually pick a wellness initiative that you'll do at your school. And then after that, we're going to hand it over to Tara to kind of give us a more of a nutrition 101 crash course so we can be healthier in our own lives. So I believe you've seen this graph before. We like to use it a lot in our Fit to Learn. So again, we just want to focus our attention on that obesity is a huge issue in the United States, and over time you can see from 1990 the map of the United States. It shows a light blue color, which indicates that, you know, less than 10% or between 10 to 15% of the adult population in those states experience those levels of obesity. And then if you fast forward through 10 years later to 1999 and then to 2010, you can see a dramatic shift in obesity, which is, every time I look at this map, it's so shocking to me. So we're over, you know, in many states, especially in the South, and Illinois is not too far behind, we're seeing obesity rates of 30% or higher. So that's 1 in 3 adults, so very scary stuff. And we want to make schools a healthier place. And so we know as teachers, you're often stressed, overburdened, have competing priorities, not only in your school setting, but also in your own lives. So again, we want to just point to the fact that obesity leads to all these different scary things such as cancer, sleep apnea, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, and the list goes on and on and on. And we just want to make sure we take time for ourselves during the school day or after school to really, de-stress and make our own wellness a priority. So we're going to try out our our question function, and let's just take a moment and think about filling in the blank of this sentence. Healthy teachers are ... What does that mean to you? So let's take about 30 seconds to fill that in. You can think of it in any way. Healthy teachers are awesome. You could say healthy teachers are inspiring. I want to hear those keyboards clicking over there.
Ooh, energized.
Energized. Awesome. Oh, we have another one coming in. Healthy teachers are more productive. Very good.
Any more?
They're more on task. Okay, that's another great suggestion. Okay, great. So, obviously healthy teachers are also, exactly as you say, more energized, more productive, they're more on point, they're able to give more of a higher quality self to their students and to their peers. And then, also this is just a snapshot from a Partnership for a Healthy Workforce that does all kinds of research on why staff wellness is so important in the work environment. And when your workplace really values you and you feel valued and you feel cared for, you're more likely to stay there longer and be happier and feel good about where you are in your own life, but also in your career. So we hope that your school administrators really take this seriously about staff wellness and why it's important to your own productivity, but also to your own well-being. All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. In fall of 2012, CPS passed 2 amazing new wellness policies that really set the stage for great work. Obviously, there's a lot of implementation that needs to happen, but we just wanted to take a few seconds to highlight some of the language that they put in the wellness policies. So they really call out school staff and administration to really be healthy role models in their school buildings. And so this means thinking about your school staff meetings, your professional development. What can you do there that models healthy behavior? Is it switching out the coffee and donuts for, okay, well maybe we can't switch out coffee, but maybe we can switch out the donuts for fruit, or having more of a nutrient-dense snack or breakfast offerings available. Maybe we start off our professional development with movement to get everyone going. Little things like that we can do in our own staff settings that really inspire our students. They're not blind to what happens around us. We really hope you're not at the front of your classroom drinking a Pepsi. We hope it's water or something of that sort. So here I just did a snapshot of the actual wellness policy. So on the top, you will say, you see the letter J, and it says school staff and administration. And basically it's saying, let's be healthy role models. And then on the bottom part, it actually breaks down how school staff can be held accountable for being healthy role models, and or starting wellness activities after school. So obviously, many of you already know that CPS is asking schools to identify a wellness champion, to form a wellness team, and then to actually tell people what kind of activities you're doing to your local school council and other members of your school community. So basically what we're saying is, this is great, these are great policies, it really sets the stage, it really sends a strong message about the value of wellness to learning. And then we will hand out this handout that CPS created summarizing the different points of the wellness policy around nutrition, education, physical activity, and also staff wellness. So this will also be sent to you via email. So how many of you are wellness champions? let's use our question box, and you could say, I am a wellness champion, or I am not a wellness champion.
I know based on the meeting or the training we provided in January, a bulk of the teachers that were in attendance were wellness champions. So just knowing that Fit to Learn teachers are at the forefront or leading the charge is really inspiring and motivating for us to continue our work. Oh, it looks like there's a few.
Oh, great. Looks like the majority of our audience are wellness champions. Woohoo! So, all right, so you're obviously in the know of how that works. We know what a wellness team is. You know, again, we said it looks different for everybody at every school, but obviously these are the key people we want at the table. And then, you know, how does this benefit you? You'll feel better, you'll feel a reduced stress, you'll live longer, and you know what, it'll be fun. It'll be a new creative way to, you know, really inspire your school, yourself, and your staff members.
I know for me, and I don't know about the two of you, but my workout time is really all about focusing on myself rather than worrying about homework or cooking dinner or getting a load of laundry in. So to really stress the fact that it's a special time for you, you can't really place too much value on that. Like it's really a priority for a lot of people. Ooh, I thought it was going forward. Never mind. There we go. Sorry about that. So just to piggyback on what Rosa was speaking about as far as you being healthy, as a teacher who is in the Fit to Learn program, you're really a role model to not only your staff but also to the students. And so we feel like it's really important that you understand that being healthy and leading a healthy and active lifestyle sets the stage for leading the charge at your school. So for example, if you are preaching to your students that healthy food is really important, it provides you with amazing energy and you can focus all day and moving around is much easier, but you're sitting at your desk drinking a Coke and eating a cheeseburger, it's hard for those students to really, it sends mixed messages. So we feel it's very important for you as a leader to really mimic the ideals that you're sharing with your students and staff. And you know, if I like a Coke. I like a baby Coke once in a while, but I have one maybe once a week, and it's a baby Coke. And I try not to drink it in front of my kids because, again, I don't want to send the wrong message. At the same time, we're asking you to be a leader at your school and lead the charge with the staff. And so how do you do that? Well, one of the best ways is to really, in order to get their buy-in, is to really understand what it is they're interested in. So here on the screen you see a snapshot of a survey that we've created for all the teachers in the Fit to Learn program to share with their staff. And you can't see all the questions because it's a couple pages. And again, along with the wellness policy, we'll make sure that you have access to this document. But it's an opportunity to survey your staff and find out what their interests are. So maybe it's not just physical fitness, but maybe it's emotional support or parenting skills or how to manage their stress levels. And then once you have this information, you can start to focus or hone in on what's relevant to them and then start to share the information with those teachers. So again, you get that buy-in so that they're more engaged and active, and also can kind of figure out what's relevant, what's a relevant topic to the teachers in your school. So this is a great tool, and again, we're going to make sure you guys have this available for your teachers. So let's talk about staff wellness initiatives and the motivation behind it. So some of the initiatives you could focus on at your school could be something as simple as starting a Biggest Loser contest. This seems to be a really popular idea that many schools are currently doing. It's small competition between teachers, but at the same time, the motivation or the end goal is to become more healthy. Some of the ways you can motivate those staff members are, placing helpful, informative information on vending machines. So if somebody's you see there's a Snickers bar option in the vending machine, you throwing out a handout on the front of that vending machine, letting them know how many calories it is and how long it would take them to burn those calories from a walk might help them think twice about eating that Snickers bar. Putting motivational quotes in their mailboxes. Finding someone to work out with. I know that it's helpful for me to have a group of people to work out with versus myself. They motivate me to continue on with my workouts. As Rosa said earlier, making healthy food options available at your staff meetings. So instead of the donuts, maybe it's yogurt and granola. We're definitely not about taking away the coffee, but looking at the food that you're offering, even during professional development, making sure that that's a priority. Starting a walking club, sharing your favorite physical activity. Again, this is just a list of ideas that you could use to start an initiative and then to motivate the staff at your school. Motivation is really important. It's a way to give somebody a reason or incentive to do something. And so as a teacher, you do this already with your students. This should translate pretty easily into providing the same type of motivation for the staff. So it's also great that if you are already in this mindset, you already are a healthy person with great motivation, great healthy eating already established, then a lot of times you can be that motivation. So teachers looking to you for inspiration, they recognize how healthy you are, if you've lost weight. We have one teacher, Cecilia Ledvick, a PE teacher, who has lost over 40 pounds in the last year or so, and she says often how often she is approached by her colleagues saying how great she looks and that her photos should be changed, and it just doesn't look like her anymore. So you can actually be that motivation and that change agent in your school. So some ways that you can provide not only motivation, but for simple ways to provide resources to the teachers. Take a look at this list. For the entire month of March, CVS is offering free health screenings. You've got opportunities in April with the American Diabetes Association. We have a whole list of ideas for free or reduced cost-saving health screenings and fitness opportunities. So again, that's another form that we'll provide for you when we send out all of the material. All right, so let's take a quick survey. We want to know if any of those wellness initiatives that we listed out earlier were interesting to you, or if you thought that that was something that you could achieve at your school. You can either pick one that we've listed, or if you have your own idea, just put it on the chat. Can't we do this? Or actually, we'll just do the poll. Let's see if I can remember how to do this.
Just click on.
Sorry, guys. It's my first time.
Yeah.
We're going to list a poll, and we want you to pick one of those answers.
Click launch.
Oh. All right. So take a moment, take a peek, and then let's see how you think you want to start a wellness initiative at your school. It's really important to think about goals, specifically when it comes to staff wellness and how you want to implement that at your school. It looks like the majority of you are interested in starting a running or walking club. That's a great way just to kick off a wellness initiative. It's pretty simple. You can get a lot of people to participate.
So we had a great example of one of our Fit to Learn schools starting a Hustle Up Club. And they, on a quarterly basis, did a different physical activity routine with the teachers. And at first they outlined a different obstacle course inside the school where they did stairs and then ran across the hallways and downstairs through the cafeteria, and they would time themselves to see how fast they could do it or how many laps they can do in a given time, like in the first 10 minutes or whatever. But that was a really simple and successful initiative that they did at their school. The other was one school created a meetup group where they just went running either early in the mornings or after school.
Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about quickly is setting goals. And setting goals are really important in order to hold yourself accountable for what it is you want to achieve. So it gives you clarity, it helps keep pushing you forward. If you have a defined goal, it's more likely that you're going to actually work towards achieving that goal. It helps keep you focused. It allows you to live life to the fullest. You know, if you set goals and you reach them, you feel more successful in life, which is, you know, pretty important, especially if some of your goals are weight loss or, you know, to work on your high blood pressure or improve the amount of time you spend working out. So setting those goals not only for yourself but also for your staff is really important. So if you have a moment of a pen and a pencil, jot this down. But again, we can also include this in the documents that we forward to you. What we'd like for you to do is once you've established this wellness initiative at your school, ask your teachers to set a set of goals. So one for 6 months, one for a year, and one for 5 years. Have them record that on an index card on one side, and then on the other side have them jot down their mailing address. And what you're going to do as a wellness leader is after 3 months, send those out to those teachers. You're probably going to be on summer break, and it'll be a great opportunity to remind them what their goals were and to check in to see where they're at and how they're doing. So that when you go back to school in August, it's a great opportunity for a conversation starter about how well they're doing with their goals. All right, I can't get my next slide. All right, well, a little technical difficulty, but just to let you know, the next step for your wellness initiative is we will, again, link you or email you all of, there we go, all of the necessary documents that would be required to run or initiate the wellness team at your school or start a wellness committee. Whatever it is you need to do, we're going to make sure you have those documents. We're also going to send out a survey link. We'd love to have some feedback on the webinar, and based on that survey, we'll be able to, once we receive feedback from the survey, then what we'll do is we'll forward you the CPDU credit so you can make sure that you've got that available to register. Just as an FYI, the next booster we have is Wednesday, March 27th. You'll receive booster credit for this one as well. And it's getting to know Fit to Learn. This is kind of a tentative label, but we are going to have kind of a meet and greet. We want you to invite some colleagues that might be interested in what we've discussed so far. Maybe you've shared some of the lesson plans and your excitement about the program, and this is a great way just to introduce them to Fit to Learn and hopefully get them interested so that they'll attend the summer Fit to Learn sessions. And then for those of you who have completed the program, so you've gotten your full day session as well as your 3 boosters, we're going to honor you with a graduation breakfast at Wishbone, one of our favorite restaurants here in the city. So this location will be the West Blues location. You will receive a formal invitation. And at that breakfast, we will, of course, hand out lots of swag for those people who graduated the program. Thank you so much for participating in this first part of our Fit to Learn webinar. We are going to hand it over to Tara, and she's going to share with us some really helpful information about being a healthy role model. All right. So this
goes really nicely with what Christy and Rosa were just talking about as far as the wellness policies and really working on being that healthy role model for your students. And if you have children or close friends or family, we can always be a healthy role model in our lives, but especially we want to talk about it as it relates to our students. We're going to talk about healthy snacking, give some ideas for why you need to snack, and then some good tips on what makes up a healthy snack. And then we'll talk about beverages, healthy and unhealthy. And then we will talk a little bit about using the nutrition facts label to help you to guide you in those decisions and to help you to pick the best options. Okay. Of course, it's important to be a healthy role model because we know that students perform better academically and have better attendance when they are healthy. And so by modeling those good behaviors, we can hopefully all see a good improvement in the health of our students' attendance and test performance. So what does it really mean to be a healthy role model? And so a lot of this was touched on, but we want to make sure we're keeping the junk food and the fast food out of the classroom. And maybe if it's not out of the classroom, if we're concealing it in a good way. So if you really want to have that bag of chips, choosing not to have the chips in front of the students, but waiting until they're away on a prep period. Maybe they're in PE or maybe they're in the library, and that's when you can have one of your less healthy snacks. Or if you're drinking soda or an energy drink, you know, you want to try and switch containers. Don't bring the can right up to the classroom or have it on your desk. Students are very observant, so even if you have the can in the trash, in your own trash barrel, they're going to see it. So pouring it into a different kind of cup so they don't know really what is in there is going to be the best way. But you also then want to choose to model good behaviors, things like drinking water, eating lots of fruits and vegetables. That would be the best option. So what really is a healthy snack? Healthy snacks should be high in fiber, high in protein, and then low in fat. Foods high in fiber are going to be your fruits and vegetables, and then any whole grains. Those are going to be all naturally high in fiber. Of course, we know there are other foods that are high in fiber, things like fiber bars, or there's even fiber powders you can put into smoothies, or things like that. But the best kind of fiber you're going to get from those natural foods that are already in there. Then you want to choose high protein, so things like lean meats, your turkey or chicken, beans, peanut butter, almond butter, hummus, yogurt, milk, and cheese. All of those are going to be nice high protein foods. And then trying not to have a snack that's too high in fat. Fat can really make us feel tired, so overindulging on a snack could do the opposite of what we really would like to happen when we eat a snack. A lot of times I get the question, do we need to snack? Is it something, should I just stick to my meals? But you absolutely need to snack. Snacking is important for keeping your energy up, keeps your metabolism going. And when you think about the timeline of your day, usually between breakfast and lunch is maybe 3 or 4 hours. And then, but lunch to dinner could be 6, 7, 8 hours depending when you eat, especially if you're at a school or in a grade level where your lunch break is at 10:30 or 11 in the morning. We're talking a long day to get through until dinner. So you really should consider snacking throughout the day, but you want to make sure you're picking the right snack. Protein and fiber together is very hard to digest. So the longer a food takes to digest in your stomach, that's the longer you're going to feel full. So protein and fiber combination is great, not just because that there's a lot of nutrient-rich foods that have protein and fiber, but because actually it keeps you fuller for longer. So that means usually you'll eat less of those snacks, which will help to hopefully prevent overeating between meals, and then also you'll get the most nutrients. Sort of think the most bang for your buck. So I said to consider nutrient-dense snacks. You see where I wrote think an apple with peanut butter. Versus energy dense. Energy dense means lots of calories, very little nutrients, so we want to think of things like potato chips. Moving into healthy beverages, the only 2 drinks that our body really needs are milk and water. And there are many other drinks we like to have that are not milk and water, but it is really important to highlight these 2 healthy beverages because First of all, sometimes we as adults forget about milk because milk is for kids. We think about milk in little milk cartons, but we need our milk for our bones just as much as the kids do, and especially for teeth also. You want to make sure you're trying to get 3 servings of dairy a day, so a lot of times having 3 glasses of milk is the easiest way. And then making sure you're choosing low-fat or skim options. Skim is 0% or fat-free. This is the only kind of milk that's available at school, so if you consider purchasing milk during breakfast or lunch, you only have the option of 1% or skim milk. 2% and whole milk, you want to try to stay away from just because we typically get enough fat in our diet that we don't need to drink it or have it in our milk. This is the same for students, and that's why there's the change in the food menu.
Tara, I have a quick question. For someone that's lactose intolerant, what would be a good substitution for milk?
Really great question, and there are definitely a lot of lactose intolerant students and teachers out there. So you could choose soy milk or almond milk. One of the milk, or you can even have the lactate milk. So anyone who's lactose intolerant, you are allergic to lactose, which is the sugar in the milk. So anything that's going to be missing that, you will not have that reaction to. And lactose is a naturally occurring sugar in milk. So when lactate just takes that part out of it. You do absorb calcium the best from cow's milk, so if you don't have an intolerance, a lot of times the media makes you think soy milk is better or has a better edge on cow's milk, but if you can tolerate cow's milk, that is going to give you the calcium that you need. And then, of course, we want to make sure we're having water. Water should be your #1 beverage throughout the day. What most of our body is made up of, we need it. It's in our eyes, it's in our saliva. We lose it all day while we're breathing, sweating, anything like that. And then it also helps keep your blood clean, keeps your organs going. So specifically, your kidneys really appreciate when you have enough water. As your kidneys filter your blood throughout the day, if you don't have enough water, you'll notice because you won't be using the bathroom, but then also it can really damage your kidneys over time. So really want to make sure we're getting enough water. Some unhealthy beverages we might like to have can really impact different parts of our body. So of course, bone health, there's something called phosphoric acid that's in most of our brown sodas. And what that does is it actually pulls the calcium out of your bones and pulls the calcium out of your teeth. So if anyone's a chemistry teacher, you would already know that reaction would be happening. What dentists are seeing a lot of is young adults with very little enamel left on their teeth and a lot of cavities from drinking a lot of soda. And then, of course, there's always the risk of having osteoporosis when you're older because of the calcium being out of your bones, just from overindulging on soda. Your kidneys also don't like to have a lot of sugar in your blood, and so any sugary beverage is going to spike your blood glucose levels very quickly, and anytime that happens, it really asks your pancreas to crank out a lot of insulin. Insulin, of course, we know usually we relate it with diabetes, but everyone has that natural reaction in their body. So you eat or drink something, your blood glucose goes up, your pancreas releases insulin to help to bring that blood sugar down. When we drink really sugary drinks, your blood sugar spikes, and then there's a ton of insulin release and it comes down, and that's usually why we feel a crash. The crash you feel after sugary soda or a lot of caffeine is definitely real, and it's because of that spike in your blood sugar, and then your body has overcompensated with insulin, so you're feeling low energy. Caffeine is not very good for your heart. It really can overwork it over time if we have too much caffeine. Of course, a lot of studies have showed the benefit of coffee or tea, and so 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day is what is not recommended if you don't drink coffee already, but it's recommended if you do drink coffee, 2 to 3 cups of coffee would be okay. And then carbonation, something to consider is it actually expands your stomach, so we tend to overeat on times when we drink soda with our meals. Of course, then lots of sugar impacts our weight. So next, let's look at the nutrition facts label. We've seen these on the foods we're eating, so let's figure out what they mean. They can be pretty overwhelming and a lot of times really confusing, so I'm going to try to just give you a quick, simple lesson on the things to look for. First, start with the serving size and the servings per container. I always like to say don't judge a food by its calories because everything has calories. So if you're looking at something like a lean cuisine and it's 400 calories, a lot of times people think, oh, that's so many calories, but it's a meal, so 400 calories is fine. But if you were looking at a 400-calorie candy bar, that's a different story. But you want to look at your serving size and servings per container because a lot of foods we would eat the whole container are more than one serving. A great example of this is a can of soup. A can of soup is almost always 2 servings per container, and we almost always would eat the whole can, which is fine. It's not that many calories. So, but the reason you want to pay attention to that is because you're going to multiply the entire label based on how much you're eating. So if you're eating 2 servings, you multiply the whole label by 2. Next, you want to look at fat. You really want to try to limit your fat intake, but specifically your saturated fat intake. That's the one that's going to increase your risk for heart disease, and then trans fat is going to really increase your risk of heart disease. Trans fat you want to get as close to 0 as possible. So you can see the sample label would not be a good choice because it has 2 grams of trans fat and then 2.5 grams of saturated fat, pardon me. So you want to try to choose foods that have unsaturated fat, which is actually not listed on this label, but you could see where it would be. Sodium we want to watch, and the reason I really wanted to bring up sodium is because many of our snack foods are going to all be high in sodium because anything processed in a can, a package, or a box will be high. These are the daily recommendations. You can see for most people it's actually only 1,500 milligrams a day of sodium. And to give you some perspective, 1,500 grams of sodium is 2/3 teaspoon of salt. And 1 teaspoon of salt would be the higher recommendation for the day. 1 teaspoon of soy sauce is 1,500 milligrams, so we usually get more than enough sodium. If you have high blood pressure, you really want to watch this on your food label. And then you want to look at the good nutrients, the notable nutrients. So fiber, we want to try to get enough fiber during the day. Something that has 5 grams of fiber would be considered a high fiber food. So that's sort of your goal. Not very many processed foods have fiber, so I would say if you have something that's 3 or 4 grams, that's okay. That's the guideline we use for cereals for kids in the classroom. It should be at least 3 grams. Carbs do not tell the whole story. So carbs include fiber in there as well as sugar. You actually really want to focus on the sugars, not just the total carbs. And then for the vitamins, it's just giving you an average percent. It's not going to be telling you exactly how much you're getting. And then for the next thing we'll talk about is percent daily value. I'm not a huge fan on using percent daily value just because it's based on 2,000 calorie a day diet, which is not practical or recommended for everybody. But it is a good idea if you really are trying to figure out if a food is high in an unhealthy ingredient, you could certainly use this as a guide. And then last but not least, you'll have your ingredient list. And I always like to say if you can't pronounce many of the ingredients, you should really take a second thought about eating that food. If you're going to eat a cookie, think about what should be in a cookie. It should be flour, eggs, milk, and butter. If there's 35 ingredients, maybe we should consider eating something else. So let's practice. We'll go through a couple snack labels. These probably look familiar if you are in our school system. These are a very popular snack for kids of all ages in all areas of the city. So Flaming Hot Cheetos, you can see the label up there. I just wanted to touch on how to figure out the percent fat of a food. And what you would do is take the calories from fat, divide it over the total calories, and multiply that by 100. And that gives you percent fat. Sometimes that still doesn't resonate with students, but so I like to say, okay, Flaming Hot Cheetos are about 63% fat. So if you imagine instead of Cheetos inside of that bag, it was butter, 63% of that bag would be filled with butter. It's kind of a gross visual, but it really works. The kids really gross out about that. And if you eat these, you should be grossing out about that right now, too. To give perspective, baked Cheetos are still considered a high-fat food, but you can see much less fat in the baked variety. So if you really want to get your Flaming Hot Cheetos fix, go to the baked variety. We have popcorn. Look, it's called Smart Food, so it should be really good for us. This is the buffalo cheddar flavor, still 50% fat. Popcorn is actually an amazing snack to choose. It's very high in fiber, and it's high in some other nutrients that are hard to get, like magnesium. But if you add a lot of butter and salt, you're going to really be missing the benefits of that. So here's something that would be a little tricky to think about. We have whole wheat pita chips, and you can see with the rule of choosing foods that are less than 25% fat, this is actually exactly 25% fat. It has 3 grams of fiber and no saturated fat, so I would consider this to be a healthy snack choice. You want to consider some other nutrients when you are looking at this also. So, you know, consider percent fat, but then also use some intuition on if it would be a healthier snack or not. And then just sort of a list of healthy snack ideas. I won't bore you and read through all of these, but hummus and vegetables. We have some vegetables with a low-fat Greek yogurt dip, banana and peanut butter. So there's lots of options to keep us full for longer without all the fat. Now let's look at a few beverages, and I just wanted to give a little disclaimer. Just because there's one specific brand up here, you can consider all different foods to fall into this category. Just some food companies do a much better job of letting you see their nutrition facts than others. So just because this is a Pepsi, it doesn't mean it couldn't be a Coke or a Diet or a Dr. Pepper or a Mountain Dew or anything like that. So here is our faithful Pepsi. Our serving size is 20 ounces. You can see right there, serving size 8 ounces. Servings per container 2.5. So you actually, when you read the label, if it only listed it by 8 ounces, you would multiply that by 2.5. Luckily here they've already done the math. You can see by drinking that whole bottle, it's 250 calories and then 69 grams of sugar. That is a lot of sugar. And 250 calories is about half of a meal. That's about how many calories you would be consuming there. Here's a McDonald's large sweet tea, and I picked a large not to exaggerate it, but because McDonald's sells small, medium, and large all at the same price. So usually, you know, I've always wanted to stretch our dollar, we're going to pick the biggest size. A large sweet tea is 280 calories, 69 grams of sugar. So again, if you just considered if that, instead of being a drink, if it was full of just plain old sugar, it wouldn't be as appetizing. So,
about how many teaspoons of sugar is 69 grams, would you say?
Good question. So you do the math. Maybe if you can grab a calculator and help me. So you divide 69 by 4 because it's 4 grams of sugar per teaspoon. If there's any math teachers on the line.
17.25.
So 17.25 teaspoons of sugar and 16 teaspoons equals a cup. So this is over a cup of sugar.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot.
And I would think that's the healthy choice.
Right.
Iced tea or sweet tea.
Yeah, and right, it's not soda, but as we can see comparing it to the Pepsi, it's just about the same. Here is an iced caramel mocha. So even though, again, this is in a cafe, we can imagine we're at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, any of these delicious coffee shops. This is a large because we've got to get our caffeine in. We know these students can really drain our energy. 460 calories. So that's a meal, basically. That's a whole meal right there. A lot of sugar, but so many calories. You can see that there is an option here at McDonald's, and just like any other coffee shop to have the non-fat milk, which would be a much better choice. Put it with the whole milk, though, because if you don't specify, they're going to make all of your drinks whole fat, whole sugar. So even though sometimes we think we don't want to be too demanding, asking for skim milk and no whipped cream and all of those things, it really can save you a lot of calories. Because coffee itself is 0 calories. The same with tea. Tea has no calories. It's what we put into coffee and tea that give it calories. And then we have 2 more drinks to go over, but this is what I really consider the most unhealthy drink you can have, and these are energy drinks. Energy drinks have so many chemicals in them and so much caffeine. It's way better for you to have coffee because coffee has antioxidants, which actually help to protect you from things like cancer. Energy drinks do not. They are very damaging to your kidneys, to your pancreas, your stomach, and so we really want to try to stay away from energy drinks. If you love energy drinks, I would really encourage you to consider switching to coffee. And usually I have especially teen students that say, well, what's better between an energy drink or pop? And when I tell them that pop is better, they're shocked because they know pop is unhealthy for them. So for me to tell them there's something less healthy than pop, it really shocks them. If you take a look up there at the 24-ounce can of energy drinks, the amount of sugar in there would equal 31 times 3, so there's 93 grams of sugar in this. It is absurd. And then finally, sports drinks. A lot of times, especially PE teachers or coaches, think sports drinks are the right thing to have to replace those electrolytes. Really, plain old water is going to be the best thing for you to recover after a workout because you don't need the carbohydrates in here, you don't need the sugars, and the sodium and potassium you'll get through food. So the best thing to do to recover from a workout is just eat a nice healthy snack and drink some water. Just the last few things to look for on our food labels: health claims. Things written on foods such as will lower your cholesterol or will make you jump higher, run faster. A lot of times those are not regulated by the FDA. The FDA will regulate what's in a food, but not what is written on a food. So if it's fat-free, low-fat, low-sugar, or sugar-free, that does not mean that it is healthy. Fat-free, usually once you remove an ingredient, you have to add something. So if you take out the fat, you add in sugar or salt. If you take out sugar, you add in salt and fat. You always have to compensate for the flavor somehow. So a lot of times it's a good idea if you're opting for a low-fat, if you're looking at something like a snack cracker, look at the low-fat, compare it to the regular fat, and a lot of times you'll find the regular fat would actually be a better choice because it's lower in sugar or lower in salt. It's just higher in calories and fat. And then other things, organic. Organic does not equal healthy. So a lot of times when we have organic food stores or foods that sell, or stores that sell health foods, organic is just the way that a food's been produced. So it means there's been no chemical treatments on it, there's no pesticides, but it doesn't mean that there's not organic butter and other organic sources of salt or fat. So you can see on the bottom I kind of use the most extreme examples, but we have Sweet Debbie's organic cupcakes. Cupcakes are not more healthy for you because they're organic. They're still a cupcake. So just to review a little, really trying to be a healthy role model would be to choose healthy snacks because you want to keep your energy up as a teacher also. You want to make sure that the foods you're putting into your body are going to help you to get through your day. If you put in a lot of junk foods, it really is true. You are what you eat. You will feel the way that your foods are in your body. Healthier foods give you energy. Unhealthy drain you of energy. Limit your sugar-sweetened beverages. Make sure you're choosing your water. And then, of course, I always like to say all foods in moderation because it is true.
So we're going to take a moment here and see if you have any questions. So on your question drop box, we have wonderful expertise at your disposal right now. So if you have any questions of like, well, is Diet Coke better than drinking regular Coke, or is Diet Coke better drinking than coffee? Any questions like that you might have, just feel free to type it in your question box and Tara will answer them for you. Okay, so someone actually does have that question. Is Diet Coke better than regular Coke?
Good question. And I really did think about putting diet soda in here because a lot of teachers that I have seen do go to the diet soda. It is going to be sugar-free, so there's not going to be any sugar in there, but it'll have a sugar replacer, so something like Splenda or Equal or Sweet and Low. And that's not necessarily any better for you or worse for you than the sugar. So I really like to say that it's your choice. If you would rather put sugar and calories in your body, you want to drink the regular. If you would rather put in the chemical sweetener and not have the calories, you should go for diet. But of course, diet or regular are still going to have that acid that's bad for your teeth, still going to have the carbonation that stretches your stomach. And diet soda actually has been shown to kind of give you more of a sweet tooth, just like drinking the regular soda. And so it is obviously best to just drink plain old water, but it's up to you. If you drink more than one regular soda a day, you would want to consider either making a smaller portion size or have one of those be diet. Coffee, again, will be better than soda because of the antioxidants.
Okay. Thank you, Tara.
No problem. And then just a few additional resources. There's so much information out there on nutrition, but ChooseMyPlate.gov is great for both adults and children. And I really wanted to point out the Healthy Eating Tips link because it has 10 healthy tips the USDA has decided to focus on, and you can print these handouts out. You can send them home with your students, or you can talk about them in class, and there's things like tips for losing weight, there's tips for being a healthy role model, tips like avoid overeating your portions, all that kind of stuff. And then there's something called Super Tracker, which you can actually put all of the foods you're eating in throughout the day, and it will track all your calories, fat, sugar, everything. And then this is my email address, and it's been great talking to you.
So if you have any questions for Tara after this, please feel free to email her. For those of us that joined us a little later, we're glad that you were able to make it. We are going to, again, the next step is that we're going to send you a link of all the documents that we discussed today, a slide of the PowerPoint presentations. We'll send you a link to an evaluation link. We'll probably do it on SurveyMonkey, and that way we can collect our feedback since this was our first time doing our webinar, yay. And that way we'll also send you the CPDU form that you need to get your CPDU credits. And then again, just a friendly reminder that March 27th is our meet and greet, getting to know Fit to Learn. So come on by. We're going to have mocktails, and it'll be tons of fun. And bring a new colleague so we can get started. And then graduation is April 17th at Wishbone. So hope to see you all soon. Have a wonderful evening. And again, reach out with any questions. We're here to help. Thank you.